What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League podcast with your host, Alex Leak. And I got Dean back on the show. Dean, good to have you on.
Hey, hi, Alex. Appreciate you pulling me in again. This is awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be 2023 college football season preview. The season about ready to get started on Saturday. So we're excited, man. I can't wait to get some actual meaningful regular season football going. And it's pretty cool. Your Notre Dame Fighting Irish are kicking everything off.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah,
Yeah,
I like the whole thing of them traveling and doing that sort of thing.
yeah, in Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah.
How cool, how special do you think that game is going to be? You know, a long, old school tradition of Navy and Notre Dame, and playing that in Dublin, Ireland. That should be pretty fun, pretty special.
Yeah, a lot of real pluses to the whole thing for both sides.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, we're heading into week zero. Navy against number 13 Notre Dame. The rivalry dates back to 1927. Notre Dame leads the head-to-head 79 to 13 and 1. Notre Dame has a 5-game winning streak against Navy and has won 10 of the last 11. Um, do you anticipate Notre Dame going in there and being able to take care of business pretty easily, or how do you think that the game is going to go on Saturday?
Well, just looking at the rosters and it just seems to me like Notre Dame should handle this game pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll be surprised if they struggle against them.
Yeah.
Also, their old attack is pretty hard to defend, and if we haven't played them for a while, then you got to get used to it again.
Yeah, and I think it's key, going into Marcus Freeman's second year. If you remember last year, getting off to a slow start, starting the season 0-2, it's very important to get an opening win, get out on the right, start the season off on the right foot this year.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's very important.
Looking at Notre Dame, some changes. New offensive coordinator Jared Parker replaces Tommy Reese, who went to Alabama. Quarterback Tyler Buckner also goes to Alabama. Are you going to be keeping your eye on these two, Tommy Reese and Tyler Buckner, both in Bama this year?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't care. Really, I mean, first of all, it's Alabama,
Yeah,
and to me, I'm not quite sure why the move was made to begin with. I can't quite figure that out. But he did make the move. Other than he knew, that there was an opportunity, but
yeah,
still, I don't know. Alabama goes through a lot of coordinators,
yeah,
so he's just another one.
yeah, yeah. And we'll see if maybe he's trying to use this to, if he has some success at Bama, give himself an opportunity to be a head coach or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them that step right into the coaching ranks from Alabama that are assistants. So
Yeah,
maybe that's in the back of his mind. Who knows? Um, I don't wish him a lot of luck, honestly.
yeah. I mean, of all the places to go, right? You
Yes,
choose Bama. I mean, the only thing that could have been worse is maybe Michigan.
yeah, or USC or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but Notre Dame does get, an upgrade at the quarterback position. Sam Hartman, who broke the ACC record for passing touchdowns. In my opinion, he's probably the best quarterback Notre Dame's had in a long time, maybe since Brady Quinn. Do you agree with that? A lot of pressure on Sam Hartman, but he's very talented. Maybe one of the best Notre Dame's had in quite a while.
I think he'll adjust well. He's going to have a good package around him,
Yeah.
and he, like I said, he is already proven. I think he'll fit in real well, and I think he'll lead the team, maybe all the way. I mean, I'm confident with him.
Yeah, I mean, if he can at least get them to the playoffs, and then once you're in the playoffs, anything's possible, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be something to keep an eye on for sure. Um,
Well,
Navy,
he's even on the Heisman list. So,
yeah,
there's some expectations nationally for him.
yeah,
So, not just local.
and plenty of talent around him. A very good offensive line. A
Yeah.
much better team around him than he had. What at Wake Forest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now's the time, really, for him to get the most out of it, and for Notre Dame too, with a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was saying. When they got Jet Cohen and stuff, this is an upgrade. This is the best quarterback, and so that to me is what has been missing from Notre Dame having the ability to have a lot of success is that caliber of quarterback.
Yes, I agree.
So Navy has a new offensive coordinator as well, Grant Chestnut. And they're still going to be running their, triple option and stuff, but look for Navy to be throwing the ball a little bit more. Grant Chestnut likes to throw the ball, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. See how Navy looks. Do you think Navy is going to be any good this year, or what are your expectations with them?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah,
They're not thought of very highly,
yeah,
but you never know. When you get, new people in and new programs and different thinking, you don't know. It's an unknown. So they could be better than we think they're going to be.
yeah. That's the cool thing about this time of year is you just don't know. There's so many questions that have to be answered, and you're not really gonna know. It's not like college football has a preseason where you start to see some of the stuff. Week 0, week 1 is when you get to see it all for the first time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
look really, really looking forward to that. I'm so excited the season's finally here.
Oh yeah, it's been a long layoff for sure.
Yeah. Um, and then the second game tomorrow night or Saturday night is San Jose State against USC, number 6 USC, reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams. Um, USC should be really good again, and Caleb Williams is, considered by most to be the best quarterback in college football, and the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy again. I know you don't want to see USC do very well, but Caleb Williams, I mean, he's expected to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL. He's got a lot of talent.
Well, he's earned his spot.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't really mean mouth him because he has proven he's got the talent and he's got some people around him that help him also.
yeah,
So yeah, I think right now, yeah, he's the choice, but they still have to go through some tough teams uh, to make it all the way to the playoffs. So
yeah.
they still got to play well. I mean, very well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of talk has been about how the Pac-12 is falling apart and conference realignment and all that, but there's still some very good teams in the Pac-12 this year. Utah with Cam Rising,
Yes,
Washington with
yes.
Michael Penix, guys like that.
Well, and got Oregon with
Yep,
with Knicks.
yep.
I mean, they're going to have their work cut out for them if they get through that. Kudos to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
they're
yeah.
solid.
Yeah, and I mean, I was upset. I was riding with USC last year. I thought they were, a very good team. I thought they were going to the playoffs, and they got tripped up in the conference championship game against Utah.
Yes,
Uh, so one of the biggest things USC needs to improve on is their defense and better tackling.
yes,
They couldn't stop anybody, and that's what really hurt them against Utah. So we'll have to see if their defense is better.
yeah.
Sophomore defensive lineman Bear Alexander, a big part of that pass rush. So Lincoln Riley and USC has some questions they got to answer as well.
Yes. Yeah. No, no question. Offense, they're going to be really good,
Yeah.
but you got to play both sides of the ball.
Yep.
And so that will make it interesting when they got these other teams that also can score.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll see how they look on Saturday night against San Jose State. They
Yep.
should be able to run away with that game, but we'll see. And then a week from tonight, week one kicks off with Florida at number 14 Utah. That should be a good game as well. Uh, a great game last year between those two, you know?
Absolutely. Yes.
Um, Gators are starting a new quarterback, Graham Mertz, former Wisconsin Badger, 32 starts under his belt, so a veteran, you know. And then Utah's Cam Rising. Utah looking for revenge after that loss. But the big difference is no Anthony Richardson for Florida. How do you think Graham Mertz is going to do at Florida?
Again, when you have to kind of start over,
Yeah,
you don't know.
yeah,
If everything fits together like they all are hoping and planning, they'll do well.
yeah,
I expect Florida to be in the thick of it.
yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. They're a good team, and we'll see if Graham Mertz can get it done. I think Utah wins this game. Cam Rising is, I mean, he could end up being in the Heisman conversation. And Utah has a potent offense. I believe they averaged over 30 points a game last year, so
Yeah.
Utah is going to be a threat as well.
Yes.
Um, Looking forward to the landscape of college football. Everyone has Georgia number one. They're the back-to-back national champion. A lot of talk about three-peating, and my eyes have never seen a three-peat. We've never seen a three-peat in college football. The last time it happened, 1936 with Minnesota. Um, and Georgia easily could have lost that playoff game to Ohio State, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
So, in my opinion, give me the field. I'm betting against Georgia to win it all this year. I won't pick them to three-peat until I see it. I have to see it to believe it. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that?
Well, I think they got an issue yet with the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I mean, that in itself, they've had great quarterback play,
Mm-hmm.
and the quarterbacks have for Georgia has won the ball games at times.
Yeah.
I don't know if this guy is that good. I don't. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got everything around him,
Yeah.
and so I mean, a lot of times that's all you need. You can have a mediocre quarterback if the rest of the team plays very well. But
Yeah.
you know, the quarterback position is so key to a powerhouse
Yeah.
that they're the leader, and if he doesn't really perform well and they falter because of him, the
Yeah.
team will be affected.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to believe in your quarterback, otherwise you're not going to play as hard. You're not going to give it your all. It's easy to take a quarterback like Stetson Bennett for granted or
Yep.
look past him, because he's not flashy and he's not Caleb Williams or some of these top quarterbacks, but the thing about Stetson Bennett is he took care of the ball. He made smart decision making, and
Yes.
he came through with some big time throws at moments too. So
Yes.
Georgia has a pretty easy regular season schedule. I mean, their
Yes.
toughest matchup is at Tennessee, but so I think they get through the regular season pretty well. Probably win the SEC. That's going to be their biggest test. Is probably the SEC championship. But can they get through the playoffs and win the Natty? That's the big question. New quarterback Carson Beck, can he get it done?
Right.
So
Yeah. And if I was Georgia, I'd be really concerned about Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah, and LSU too. Keep an
Yeah,
eye on LSU. Potentially, the conference championship or Bama or whoever.
yep,
And then it's I see so many absolute studs come out of Georgia and go to the NFL. It's like how can you replace all that talent? But
yeah, year after year.
yeah. But to me, the team to keep an eye on this year is Michigan. I know you're probably not excited about that being a Notre Dame fan, but Michigan this year is built to go to the national championship. Um, the best running back duo in college football with Blake Corum coming back healthy and Donovan Edwards,
Yeah,
quarterback JJ McCarthy in the Heisman talk. We'll see if he backs that up. I have some questions on that, but a great team around him. Um, how about Jim Harbaugh, though? Michigan suspending him for the first three games. Now, winnable games against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, so they should be 3-0. Do you think Jim Harbaugh missing the first three games affects the team at all?
again, you're playing. You got kids.
Yeah,
These are young men that are playing, and the psyche does have something to do with it. But I got to believe that he'll get them prepared. That they're aware of what's going on, and he's going to expect them to play well, and I'm sure they will.
yeah, and the big tests are really going to come later in the season. You
Yeah,
know, at Penn State versus Ohio State. You know, you get caught, sleeping at Michigan State can be a tough game as well. So you never know.
right.
So
And
I'm looking forward to seeing how Michigan does this year. A lot of expectations on them. I want to see how they handle it.
yeah, that's it took a long time to Michigan to climb to that spot
Yep.
of being you're the guy.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can grab that mantle and run with it.
Yeah. I mean, let alone it would be a huge accomplishment to beat Ohio State 3 years in a row.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Ohio State, pressure on head coach Ryan Day. He doesn't want to be the coach that allows three straight losses to Michigan.
Exactly.
Um, Best wide receiver in the country with Marvin Harrison Jr. I was a big fan of his dad with the Colts.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I would love to see a running back, maybe Blake Corum, or a wide receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. win the Heisman. I'm tired of quarterbacks dominating that award. You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. It's just it's almost like I don't even call it the Heisman anymore.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to the very best player in college football. It's
Yeah.
going to the guy that gets the stats
Yeah.
and the guy that gets the most hype, in the press.
Yeah.
But there's been some awful good defensive players and running backs and receivers that probably should have.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Um, Quarterback questions at Ohio State as well. How do you think Kyle McCord does? CJ Stroud was so good. Uh, can they continue to be as talented with Kyle McCord? What do you what, what do you think on that?
uh, I again, I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I don't have any ill thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I think it's just they'll carry on.
I just think. I mean, I don't know Kyle McCord. I haven't seen anything from him, but I just find it hard to believe that CJ Stroud was so good last year, and there's got to be a drop off, right?
Well, yeah, I think so too. But it's kind of like the Georgia thing.
Yeah,
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, it is going to. Ohio State's season is going to be in his hands.
Yeah,
So, we'll know right away whether he's any good or not.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, it might take a game or two to get going, get comfortable, but by the time midseason comes around, conference play, hopefully by then they're playing at their best.
Yeah, but there's major, major pressure on these guys in Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama,
Yeah,
quarterback wise.
yeah,
So when you start someone newer or
yeah,
brand new, there's a huge amount of pressure on these guys.
yeah.
And a lot of times you can really mess things up trying too hard.
Yeah, and speaking of Bama, they've got their own quarterback issues,
Right.
deciding between Jalen Milroe and Tyler Buckner, a new offensive coordinator. And Bama, just a couple of years ago was having some of the best receiving cores in the country. And
Yes.
last year and this year, there seems to be a little bit of a drop off.
Yes.
So even more pressure on these quarterbacks. And
Right. Yeah.
can the defense, Nick Saban, the defense is always the backbone of Alabama. Can the defense carry them, if the offense goes through some struggles?
I don't know. They've got some pretty tough offensive teams to play.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm gonna love it if Bama takes a little bit of a step back and it opens the door for, Tennessee, LSU. Bama's been dominant for so long. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Yes.
Um, How about Penn State? Penn State is getting a lot of love as contenders in the Big Ten, a lot of hype. Defense being the strength of their team. Defensive end Chop Robinson. They also have a new quarterback, Drew Aller. How do you feel about Penn State? They're getting a lot of hype.
They are, and rightfully so. I mean, they were pretty
Yeah,
good last year too. They only lost 2 ball games, right?
yeah, Michigan and Ohio State, right?
Yes. So they're going to be out for blood. I mean, they will take those 2 games seriously,
Yeah,
and and they may just pull one or both of them off.
yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but
I'm.
again, the general, under the center is key.
Mhm.
So again, you gotta think that they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, two good running backs as well there at Penn State. I'm rooting for
Yeah,
them. I like it when Penn State is good and contenders. I love the whiteout game. That home atmosphere there is very impressive. I'd love to go to a game there.
yeah, it's quite a nice atmosphere for sure. It sure seems like it is anyway.
Yeah. Washington Huskies, Pac-12 contenders? Question mark. Michael Penix Jr., Heisman dark horse. How far Washington, in the conversation for sure. Explosive offense.
Yes, yeah, USC's got to be, like I said, they got to contend with some teams, and Washington's one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Uh,
Washington can. I think that the Pac-12 is going to be interesting.
yeah.
I
Do
don't think
you
I don't think USC is just going to run away with it.
No, they're going to have some tests along the way for sure, and
Yeah,
especially defensively. If you can't stop anybody, you're going to run into somebody at some point that can go blow to blow scores.
right.
So I can't wait. It's going to be such a fun season. It seems more wide open this year than in recent memory. Do you agree? Like outside of Georgia, who's everyone's favorite, there's like 10, at least probably 10 teams that are capable of going on a run if they live up to their hype.
Absolutely. Um, and still, like I said, there's a question mark with Georgia.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think it's wide open. This is going to be an interesting season because everybody's going to be tested thoroughly,
yeah,
and the
I,
teams that make it are going to be very deserving of that.
Absolutely, absolutely, but very tested. I wish this was the year we got the 12-team playoff.
Yes, we're a year late with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about LSU? Your former coach at Notre Dame, Brian Kelly, did pretty well in his first year there. They got a quarterback in Jaden Daniels. Can they get to the playoffs? Can they potentially maybe win the SEC? A big test at Alabama in November. How do you feel about the LSU Tigers?
I think LSU is going to be pretty solid everywhere.
Yeah.
I do. And you know, Kelly was fortunate to go when he did, and he reaped a lot of talent.
Yep.
Um, you know, and he may live off of that for a year or two, but
Mm-hmm.
then the the cream will come to the top, and we'll see if he is part of it.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Very
yeah,
competitive
they'll be
conference.
tough this year again.
Yeah. Yeah, we already talked about USC. I mean, favorites, very talented. Can they get it done? Um,
Well,
how about
LSU, I mean LSU, I mean they're going to start off, don't they start off with Florida State?
yes? Yep,
So
nice early season test
I
right
mean,
there.
I mean that's a test already because yeah, Florida State's no pushover.
Yeah, in Florida State, right?
Yeah,
Or is that a neutral site?
I'd have to look. I don't recall right offhand.
Yeah, but either way, gonna be a good test. Against a very talented Florida State team. Mike Norvell, head coach. Jordan Travis, excellent quarterback. Uh, they stole one of my wide receivers from Michigan State, Keon Coleman.
Yeah,
So they're going to be good. I like it when Florida State's good. I think that's good for college football.
yeah, it is. You know, Miami needs to get climb back in there to make it, you know, a little
Yeah.
more interesting too.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
it brings up the good old days.
Yeah. um, how about Clemson? They lose DJU, I'll call him the quarterback. And he kind of underachieved a little bit there at Clemson. But they've they got Cade Klubnik at quarterback, who looks pretty good. A really good running back in Will Shipley, and then they stole TCU's offensive coordinator Garrett Riley.
Yeah.
Clemson should be a real threat again this year.
Yes, yeah, they've reloaded.
Yeah,
So, beware. I mean, don't take them light.
yeah,
Just because they weren't great last year,
yeah,
because like I said, they've reloaded, they're ready. Um, I don't know. We just don't know how good that offense is going to be.
yeah,
But
yeah.
still, I would say, man, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and Notre Dame's got to go to Death Valley this year, huh?
Yeah,
That's
that's
going to be a tough one.
well, I
But
mean, but that's what you want. I mean, if you're going to be one of the top dogs, you got to beat the top dogs. So
yeah, can
bring it on, yeah,
Yeah, can Sam Hartman, go into Clemson where he knows Clemson well from playing at
yeah,
Wake Forest, and
yeah,
so that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of hype for that game.
yeah. There's been an added factor for him uh,
Yeah,
playing against them. So I mean, uh, I do think that Notre Dame is overall. I do think they're the better team.
yep.
But
Well,
when you're playing away and in that environment, with all the hype that goes with it,
yeah,
it's going to be a
yeah.
tough game. But I think that they can beat them, but whether they will or not,
Well, I'm looking forward to Notre Dame's first test is going to be here in South Bend against Ohio State, and if they can go
yes,
undefeated into that game and potentially win that, get to 5-0, then the national hype's going to start, and South Bend's going to be rocking if that happens.
right, I agree.
So that's going to be the big first test against Ohio State, and we'll see if they can come out of that. If they come out of that undefeated, then look out.
Yeah,
Uh,
the schedule is just full of great opportunities for teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything can happen this year, it looks like.
Yeah. Um, Utah, back-to-back Pac-12 champs.
How about that?
Um, they're gonna have two tests at USC, at Washington, but no, you can't sleep on Utah. They're a very talented team as well.
Yes, they are. They got some. Their offense and defensive line are both pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but man, you just I don't know. In my mind can't wrap around Utah being that good.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, I
cool.
mean,
Yeah, but it's different.
yeah, they're a different entity altogether than what you think of normally when you say Utah.
Yeah.
They are good.
I mean, I think if you think about college football history, BYU is more likely to be more talented, right? In
Yeah,
history.
yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely, yeah.
it's cool to see Utah coming on, being a threat. Um,
But they're but
Tennessee,
they're going to have a target on their back. All of them are going to be gunning for Utah now. They
yes,
won't be taken lightly in any game.
yeah, and USC desperately is going to want revenge. They feel like
Yes,
they should have won the Pac-12. They're going to have that game in their house. USC is going to want that really badly.
yes, I agree.
How about Tennessee? They lose Hendon Hooker, but they replace him with quarterback Joe Milton, the former Michigan quarterback. Um, Josh Heupel has done a great job there. Uh,
Yeah,
Wide receiver Squirrel White, one of the coolest names in college football.
yep.
They got to go to Bama versus Georgia, but Tennessee getting a lot of love, a lot of hype as well.
And rightfully so. I think they rattled the cage real good last year.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the one thing in their favor is they got Georgia at home.
Yes.
So, I mean, I mean, I think Tennessee's going to have talent. So, you know, SEC beware.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so wide open, so much fun, looking over at these teams getting ready for the season. Oregon with Bo Nix, who's a veteran with 47 starts in his career.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know how he's still playing, but he's still doing it. Head coach Dan Lanning at Washington, at Utah versus USC. Again, you're right. Whoever comes out of that Pac-12 is going to be very well tested.
absolutely. Yes. It's too bad that they're going to fall apart next year.
Yeah, I know. A lot of them, a couple of them going to the Big 12, a couple of them going to the Big 10.
Yeah, and there's a couple more still wanting to get out. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not even sure there's going to be a pack anything.
yeah. Are you sad to see that happen, or do
Oh
you
my
kind
goodness,
of?
yes, I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it.
yeah,
I'm really, I'm rather distraught that USC and UCLA would come to the Big Ten.
yeah. It makes no sense.
No sense whatsoever. I mean, I don't even know why, other than money,
Yeah,
obviously. But I just, I guess the old school guys like me, we don't think on the terms of finances.
yeah,
We think of conferences.
yeah. And
So
tradition.
stay in your conference.
Yeah,
What's the deal? Running
yeah,
all the way across country, and 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 destroying a whole uh, conference doing that.
yeah. I'm I'm glad to see the Big 12 seems to be hanging in there, but that's how I felt about Texas and Oklahoma going to the
Yes,
SEC. It made zero sense to me.
I agree.
So,
Yeah, they're going to find out that I think they'll find out they made a mistake
yeah, yeah,
because they could have dominated the Big 12.
exactly. I interviewed a former USC quarterback, Todd Marinovich, and he was talking about how, like, it seems almost sacrilege for USC to go to the Big Ten and all this conference realignment, but then
Yes.
at the end, he's like, you know what? I mean, we're not gonna stop watching, are we? We're gonna keep watching. So
Oh, absolutely. You'll actually when the games are being played, it doesn't matter
yeah,
anything about all that nonsense.
yep,
It's just team against team. Let's go get it.
yep,
And it's too
absolutely.
bad that things like this have developed so quickly, um, because it's if you don't have the different conferences solid, it takes away, I think, from the sport and the
Yeah,
playoffs and everything.
yeah. Um, I do like at least they're expanding the playoffs. Maybe I don't know. It'll be interesting. Maybe conference won't matter as much going forward, or so. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what direction college football is headed. Um, but it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, they'll have to reevaluate the conference champion being an automatic uh, player
Yeah,
when they've really goofed them all up.
yeah,
It's almost, well, just take the top 12 or
yeah.
whatever and
The
play.
best teams. Yeah. How about Texas? Quinn Ewers, if that's how you say his name, head coach Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, a lot of hype in Texas. Could be their year to win that conference and get to the playoffs. 4-10 record in one score games under Sark. Do you think Texas can get it together this year?
Uh, yeah, I think it depends really on their so-called superstar draft choice.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really know if Manning is really that good or not.
yep.
So
Coachman.
he's got to prove himself.
Yeah,
And if he's as good as everybody seems to think he is, then they'll go right along with him.
yeah,
They're solid otherwise all the way around.
yeah. I mean, that Manning name sure brings a lot with it, you know?
Yeah, but that doesn't make you automatically good.
Yep,
I mean, so we'll see. But
yeah.
if he's as good as they think he is, he'll lead that team. Wouldn't that be something if Texas comes in and starts knocking off and wins the SEC?
That'd be so crazy. With a Manning leading the way, too, you know? That'd be like some sort of bizarro world.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I like Texas, but I just don't see them coming in and knocking off the established teams.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Texas A&M rekindling that rivalry. I mean, Texas A&M is going to be tough to beat. Arkansas is going to be tough to beat.
Yep.
There's a lot of good teams. Tennessee, even Ole Miss. The SEC is so deep.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
Um, how about Oregon State with their new quarterback DJU transfers from Clemson? Head coach Jonathan Smith. Do you see Oregon State being any good?
Oh, geez. I, when when you make moves and you shuffle things and stuff, it's just a question mark.
Yeah.
And then that's the question: are they going to really be any good?
Yep.
And you won't know until they start playing.
Yep.
But there's potential.
It was cool. I saw apparently their head coach Jonathan Smith used to be a quarterback at Oregon State, and
Yeah.
actually played with Chad Johnson and TJ Hushmanzada on that team.
Really.
So that's kind of cool. A little nugget that I found out tonight.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
yeah. How about Oklahoma? 0-5 in one score games. A good quarterback, Dylan Gabriel. I thought, I like head coach Brent Venables, but a really tough first year going 6-7. Do you think they can bounce back? Brent Venables seems like a good coach. Dylan Gabriel, a good quarterback. Can Oklahoma bounce back, do you think?
I think it's going to take a little time yet.
Yeah,
I do, but they can. I
yeah,
mean, they've always been able to recruit and bring in good players and stuff. And I think they got the right coach for the job.
yeah,
So I think they'll improve and be very competitive. I think in years to come, but I don't think this year they're going to be anything really to worry about.
yeah. And you got teams like Kansas State, TCU.
Yeah, Kansas State, they won the Big 12 championship. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what they've lost, so I don't really know what they're going to be like. But K State's always been tough,
Yeah,
and and TCU was fortunate uh, to make it to the playoffs, and it's
yep,
only because they had a fantastic quarterback,
yes,
and he's gone.
yep.
So you can write TCU off. TCU's gone.
Yeah, I mean, TCU lost a lot. Not just quarterback Max Duggan, but
Yes,
they lost running back Kendre Miller, wide receiver Quentin Johnston, and offensive coordinator Garrett Riley. So a lot lost there.
yeah,
Kansas State lost running back Deuce Vaughn.
yeah.
Uh, how about Colorado? New head coach Deion Sanders, new quarterback, his son Shador Sanders. I mean, they're going to be one of those kind of must watch. Like if Colorado's playing, you're going to want to turn it on and see how they do, right?
Everybody in the nation is going to be interested to know
Yeah,
how they do,
yeah,
and there might be a whole lot more expectation on Dion than he's going to want
yeah,
because that's a tough row to hoe uh, from what they've had in the past.
yeah,
So I wish him well, actually,
yeah,
but I don't think this is going to be I think, a learning year for the coach.
yeah. Similar to Brent Venables at Oklahoma with Deion Sanders in Colorado, they're going to be good, but maybe a year or two down the road, right?
Yes, that's what I think too. But yeah, I'd
Yeah,
like to see Colorado get back into the mix.
yeah. They were building something with Mel Tucker before he left, and it's always good when it's nice to see Colorado competitive. Um, How about North Carolina with quarterback Drake May and old school head coach Mac Brown? One of the worst defenses in the country. Hopefully they can bounce back there. How do you feel
Yeah.
about North Carolina?
Um, I agree. They, I think they'll struggle. I think they'll win some ball games, but I don't think they're going to be. Um, I don't think they're going to be a real threat
Yeah,
unless it gets into a scoring situation.
yeah. They're
But
compa- there. There's some people really high on Drake May, comparing him to Josh Allen and
yeah,
all that. We'll see if he can live up to the hype.
yeah, and probably will. But you got to have an overall team in order to be a winner.
Yep.
And it takes more than one guy. So I don't know. I mean, I I think they're down there where they can do okay, but I don't see them being a big
Contenders.
threat
Yeah,
in the ACC.
yeah. My Michigan State Spartans, I'm hoping for a bounce back year, just 5-7 last year. Unfortunately, we lose our quarterback Peyton Thorne to Auburn. Um, so we're looking at probably Noah Kim as the quarterback. Um, Jalen Berger at running back. We bring in Nathan Carter, a new running back. Should be a good defense. If Michigan State's defense can carry the team while the offense catches up, then maybe that'll keep us in some games and we can pull out some upsets. Lost wide receivers Keon Coleman and Jaden Reed. But the good news is we're recruiting pretty well, ranked 23rd nationally, fourth in the Big Ten, but
Yep.
some very, very tough games versus Washington, at Iowa, versus Michigan, at Ohio State, versus Penn State. So it's going to be, I think, a tough year. I mean, if we can improve on 5 and 7, get 6 to 8 wins, I think I'll be happy.
Yeah, their schedule's loaded with tough games.
Yeah,
Um, and basically, I think you really hope that they can survive some of these,
yeah.
and then pull out some other ones that would be a little more uh, feel like they're a little more capable of taking care of.
I
But
mean, even
I mean,
Minnesota is a
if they
tough
only
game.
lose those games that you mentioned, that's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. But Minnesota's tough. Um, the Big Ten. I mean, the Big Ten's tough overall. Even Rutgers isn't an automatic win anymore.
Well, neither is Illinois,
Yeah, Illinois, absolutely.
and then you got Wisconsin. So I mean,
Yeah, yep. Wisconsin's always tough. Speaking of Wisconsin, they bring in head coach Luke Fickle, who had a lot
yep.
of success at Cincinnati. Maybe he'll provide a spark to that program.
Oh, I think he's going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
I really do.
He seems to be a pretty good coach.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah. How about you're by Auburn, the Auburn Tigers. You see them up close. How about them? New head coach Hugh Freeze, new quarterback Peyton Thorne, a tough conference, tough schedule. How do you feel about Auburn going into this year?
Well, you got to be here to understand the hype, okay?
Yeah.
Because the Auburn fans, they're hyped up every year.
Hmm.
It doesn't even matter what you got on the roster.
Yeah.
Everybody's sky high come game day, beginning of the year, and everything.
Yeah.
And but the talking heads are coming around to Freeze. I mean, they like what he's brought,
Yeah.
and I hear a lot of support, a lot of positive thoughts about the possibility of them playing some pretty good ball.
Okay.
And I mean, some of them that really know the ins and out of Auburn and everything, and that are paying attention, they actually think that they may just be the number three in their division.
Wow.
And that, I mean, that's floored me.
Yeah.
You know, most everyone else would say they'll be lucky to get off the bottom rung.
Hmm.
And these guys are saying you might just be surprised they may be better than you think. Which all that does is hype all the Auburn people up,
Yeah, I
which is
mean,
which is good.
I I mean Peyton Thorne being a former Spartan, he's not a bad quarterback. He can keep you in games. He can make just enough plays to keep you in games.
Yeah, but
So
but there's been a real good recruitment, and they've used
yeah,
the uh, uh, everything, every source they've got, transfer portal and everything, and he's really done a magnificent job for his first year.
nice.
So don't be surprised if Auburn plays pretty good.
Yeah, they got to go. Tough schedule versus Georgia, at LSU versus Bama. How do you feel about Arkansas going on the road to play Arkansas? Do you think they're going to be tough this year?
Arkansas,
Yeah,
they'll be tough. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know if they're going to be one of those guys that you're going to say, "Oh no, we got to play Arkansas."
yeah,
It's just another team, I think, in the SEC,
yeah. But I mean,
but a capable team.
yeah, and
And
they got a
and I
good,
think that's where Auburn fits. They're going to be a capable team.
yeah,
And a lot of teams, I think, are going to come in uh, or invite Auburn in, and they're not going to take them serious.
yeah,
and be sorry for it.
Yep.
Arkansas can do that too,
Yeah. That seems to be the SEC as a whole. It's like
isn't it?
if you don't take, the bottom, even the mid to bottom teams in the SEC seriously, they'll sneak up and bite you. Um, Texas A&M, for example, can head coach Jimbo Fisher bounce back? They got to go to Miami. They got, versus Arkansas versus Bama at LSU. Do you feel like Jimbo Fisher's on the hot seat there at A&M?
Yeah, but I don't think it matters because he's got a contract that only you only get when you win a lottery.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is set.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, he is as a coach underperformed for years,
Uh-huh.
but the potential everybody keeps talking about of how good they should be,
Yeah.
and
Talent wise, yeah.
this might just be the year that everything just kind of meshes together for him.
Yeah, and what they got Bobby Petrino calling offensive plays now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And he's had success before, so
Yep. So,
um
but yeah, I don't know. The A&M program is just a mystery.
yeah.
Is all it is, and because they may just surprise you this year.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can tell just by going through all that how wide open it is, and I can't
Absolutely.
I can't wait to get this season underway and start to get some answers. And we'll have to keep doing these throughout the season, and follow it along as it goes.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be fun. A fun year, I think. I'm going to try to see as many games as I can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's just week after week. It's going to be just packed. You know,
Yeah.
with you got to see games, and
Yeah.
uh, and
Yeah.
I think we're going to find ourselves switching channels to a game that we didn't think was going to be any good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of look at all the schedules and all the games being played in that week, and you go, well, okay, well, maybe that would be okay. And you might just be surprised in some
Yeah.
of the games that may just draw your attention away from what you were watching.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it always surprises me every year, like how you end up watching a game where it's like, wow, this is a good game. Like they're competing with them, or the favorite team is letting them stay in it.
Yeah,
So, you
yeah.
know, my favorite time of year, football season. I'm gonna be absolutely swamped with college, trying to watch as much as I can on Saturday, trying to watch as much as I can on Sunday. But it's my favorite time of the year. It doesn't get any better than this.
Well, I still think it's the greatest sport ever, made. I mean, it's kudos to the guys who put that all together, and
Yeah.
uh, and it's even though they keep messing around with it year after year, changing rules and changing conferences and changing playoffs and
Yeah.
all that junk that keeps going on swirls around this college football scene. I still love the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and your numbers ratings, we're gonna follow along with that again this year, and once again last year it was right on point. Coming down to the final end, Georgia, TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, it had everything to a T. So, your numbers thing is very accurate.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me because I as you go week to week, it's just like this first week now, the team that is going to be on top, uh, probably the next after the next figures are run, will probably be either USC or Notre Dame.
Yeah.
and regardless of what it is now, I mean, because the numbers only take what you do on the field,
Yeah,
what you are or what you hope you're going to be. None of that matters. It's
yeah,
what you do. And right now, the first group of teams that play, um, the teams that will have the best chance of moving up first will be those two teams.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens there. And then everybody
yeah,
gets the same old thing. I mean, the teams that play the tougher games are going to be the ones that move up.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's always it can throw you for a loop, the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but you get to week 6, week 7, week 8, it starts making a lot more sense.
yeah, the brushes of the painter become a little more clearer of what you're creating.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I told you, I made a claim one time when we were
Hmm.
talking about the numbers about I think you could probably start with the ratings upside down
Hmm.
and the numbers would still sort it out properly.
Yeah, I agree.
I went through it last year
Yeah.
and I did that. I flipped everything upside down
Yep.
and then I went through week to week to week to week. And sure enough, the same four teams come up to the top.
Yep.
It was
Yeah,
amazing. It
you
was
can,
even thrilling for me to see that happen. But
you can put,
it honors the teams that play the harder teams and they're rewarded for it.
yep.
And so, I mean, I think it's just unique how it uh, shows exactly what teams are doing well week to week, and it's just a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, and in an era of talking heads and bias and narratives, it's refreshing and so much more important to have something that is strictly wins and losses. What do you do on the field?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah,
What have you done?
yep. You
Yeah,
know, you could put Sam Houston State number one, and it's gonna figure itself out by the end of the year.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. With guys like Paul Feinbaum and talking and all that, you need something like this.
Yeah, but it's still fun to talk about them anyway.
Yeah, that's why we're here talking
We'll be
about it,
we'll be
enjoying
proving ourselves wrong, I think, through the season.
it. Absolutely. So, well, appreciate you coming on. Episode 1 of this new season kicks off on Saturday. Can't wait for see Notre Dame and USC, two top teams, show it on the field, and if you're down, we'll get you back on next week and get ready for week 1.
Yeah, I'm available most any time, so I enjoy doing this with you, Alex. Appreciate
Yeah.
you in including me.
Yeah, and the rebranded the Sports League, podcast. So
Absolutely, that was a good move.
yeah, I mean,
I like that.
we've gained like 5 or 6 subscribers since that move. So I think it's good, and we got a lot of positive momentum. A new co-host for the NFL, and just looking forward to the season. It's going to bring a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
When you're doing something that is not a job, you know,
yeah,
yeah,
and,
it just you can spend all day doing this stuff
yeah,
all week. You can just I mean it's just enjoyable. And when you find something to do that's enjoyable,
yeah.
that you're going to succeed. And so it's no wonder that things are going well for you. I'm really glad for you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. It means a lot, and you always, you have really good insight every week. So, really appreciate it. Adding to the content, and it's a lot of fun talking football with you every week and throughout the season. So,
I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yep. So thanks for coming on. Appreciate everyone that listened. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think, and let's all enjoy the football season. Have a great week, guys. Peace out.